Hello and welcome back to another episode of Civilisation Started Over. Today we're going to look at the aftermath of the First European War. As you see, it looks completely different now. I mean, the French have a more compliant government with, let's say, Western Europe, and then you've got Eastern Europe. You know what I'm trying to say? Oh yeah, and I've added a lot more cities. And oh, what's this? Looks like the British have a rebellion. Let's see what happens over here then. So initially, as you see, I guess you could say this California Union tries to break away. This war's version of like the Texas War. This just happened out of nowhere. And the British reckon someone did this. Could it be possibly the Americans living in here? They don't think it'd be Wales because they're like best friends. They've even thought about unionizing. But you could say these are like more or less somehow very close to Spain, Mexicans. They've always had some sort of connection because originally Spain went over here, but they never actually took land. But they taught the tribes Spanish, and it's basically like English accents but Spanish words, or vice versa, however you want to word it. It could be both. But after this, the British actually stick their heads out of the mud and actually start to push back up here in the south and over here in the north. They capture this major city and they surround this little body of water here. Well, then the Mexicans actually catch them off guard and circle a decently large amount of troops here, and they actually recircle the British troops here. And they can't go because the Mexican people have actually blockaded this area here. So the British can't just go around to get them and then go back. So the British will accept that they will have to give up some land to this rebellion. So let's see what this peace treaty actually looks like. Okay, as you see, a final peace deal has been summed in. The Mexican people actually got most of modern day Mexico, maybe just a bit of modern day US as well, because I'm pretty sure like the Mexico thing goes like that more than just flat. So the British in this trade will actually get a majority of the actual original rebellion, and then they also decide to purchase back this land here. But where will their capital be? Let's have a look. They decide to, instead of actually putting it in some historical lands like where the country originally formed, decide before migrating over here, they actually put the capital in Baja California, as you can see here. But there's consequences when you're a new country. Your government can be very unstable. Hmm. I'd like to see how this goes. Why is there a border here? Hold up. Oh gosh. Yeah, well, giving Mexico independence was actually a bad idea because now we've got most of Wales's North American colonies trying to break away and a little bit of British here. So you can see British on 90 half. This is Germany's, I think. Germany or Egypt, one or the other. Anyways, let's have a look and just see what happens. So the Welsh will make this big push into Michigan. And this is a big morale loss for the Americans who want to rebel because this is where the rebellion originally started. As it's now completely been lost. Even in border regions here, they've actually been cut off. And the Welsh decide to make a naval landing here. And they take, I think this is Rhode Island, I'm not 100% sure, but they take all of us, take all of that. And they're going to be like, Florida can go. So I don't know if we'll be able to hold this much. I mean, we're tiny. And they're using the majority of the population, which is loyal, from this area to help because their population is quite small at home. They're only this big because they get a bunch of loyal supporters abroad, which could be seen as interesting for this timeline. I mean, they what they basically do is the opposite of colonialism. They basically help build nations, and eventually, when it comes to decolonization, they'll probably be the first to let go, which is probably not even targets. We've not even had the First World War. I mean, technically, we could have. You know what? Let's just say we have. This bit gets encircled. And then the Americans actually surrender. And the peace treaty is pretty simple, but it's not as easy as you think. They actually have to give independence, and that's what they do, but on a much smaller extent. They, all of us here, including this island, even this very important Welsh island, you even get this. The Welsh will re-simulate that lost lands. Florida is free, and let's just say they take this part, or they could coexist. In fact, let's actually use this colour here. What's, yeah. Alright, we need to give capitals to these new countries. And now what we basically just see in Europe here is that Lithuania, who was recently annexed by Sweden, actually rebels. And this could be considered as maybe like, I don't know, maybe some sort of terrorist state. And Polish would be the first to actually try and get their lost land back. So they're going to devise a plan with uh, Belarus, Latvia, and themselves. This is what the division of Lithuania actually looks like. I guess you could say Belarus and Poland get the majority of them. Latvia, the Baltic Union, I guess you could call it. They're actually going to go over to Russia and say, hey, can we please buy some land? And Russia is like, yes, what do you want to buy? And they specifically asked to buy this. They even go to Belarus and ask to buy these two little strips, which is pretty much, I think, all the Lithuanian there now. They both actually agree. Why did I do that? Just to fix borders. So basically now, what will happen is Russia's actually now going to use that money to buy back land here, or most of it. No, see 1 pixel. There you go. So now Russia actually has some land back, and you could easily probably just go through here. In fact, they could just go through Finland. Now, not something's happening here with the Welsh, as they actually unionised with Scotland in like some sort of thing. So this is basically them trying to form the UK, and they bring this idea to the English, and they even agree with it. So now, hypothetically speaking, I guess you could say the Welsh might be the strongest, or the UK, but we could change the colour for that. And then the last place to actually officially be colonised is Brazil, as they were a tribe, and then Dutch came and assimilated them into an empire that they've just started building. And over here you've got this Australian country, and they're gonna make a deal with the British, saying that they should have some land in Africa for a good fee of money, or like even like a trade deal. You get Madagascar, these islands, for New Zealand. In fact, they actually changed their mind last minute and say, uh, you can have Papa Island. As the Australians are good friends with the Brits in real life and on this. But that will be it for this episode. As we see, quite a bit has happened. We've had the division of Lithuania, Russian land gains. We've had colonial mishaps in North America, such as Florida getting independence, Mexico, the US maybe pulled out. You can also say that what's this? All a part of Canada's sunk because they've just discovered something called global warming, but that will actually have to wait for next episode.